we kind of have this like inbuilt tabulature in our minds, this balance sheet where we need to feel like we need to reimburse it. And that's a tactic that people can use to try and influence us, either for good or for evil. Free. Good morning, world. Morning walk, episode 35. A different one today, kind of grey. Most importantly, I've got two dogs today. Come on, Pixie. Missy, come. We call that biting off more than you can chew, Missy. Doing a pretty good job. You ready, Missy? Whoa! Good girl. It's nice having Missy with us for a few days. She obviously belongs to a friend of ours who's gone away for the weekend. But it's super convenient, right? Having somebody that you can leave your dog with, and they obviously return the favour for us. But you know, this reciprocity thing, it's incredibly powerful for humans. You know, it's firstly very convenient, but it's incredibly persuasive. It's actually one of the key factors of influence and persuasion. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like when somebody does something for you, you kind of feel like you have to return the favour, no matter how big or small it is. So if somebody buys you a beer or a coffee or a meal, we kind of have this like inbuilt tabulature in our minds, this balance sheet where we need to feel like we need to reimburse it. And that's a tactic that people can use to try and influence us, either for good or for evil. I remember I was at the shopping mall not that long ago, and this mortgage broking company had set up a stand where they were giving out free coffees to people, and they were doing some profiling, some avatar profiling. They're looking for their ideal customer. They're basically looking for like stressed out parents with kids. It was super interesting because basically they're standing there like with this lovely hot coffee looking for somebody who's stressed out with a kid, and then they would literally hand them this cup of coffee and say, hey, you look really busy and tired, would you like a coffee? And of course, the moment that person accepts the coffee, they then, the salesperson then says, hey, can I just take a couple of minutes of your time to ask you a couple of questions? And of course, because they've then accepted something, that person who's accepted the coffee feels like they need to reciprocate. And so they reciprocate by giving a bit of their time, and that's like the in for the salesperson. So it's very, very powerful, and you need to be aware of it, keep an eye out for it. And people commit in one of two ways. They commit with their time or with their money. So anywhere where somebody asks you to commit some of your time, whether that's like putting in your email address for something or making a micro commitment of watching something for 5 seconds, that can be reciprocity. That can be part of that commitment that they're looking for. It's good to have friends when you've got dogs, because when you go away, you can have yours stay with your friend and vice versa, of course. Now, it's actually this interesting thing, reciprocity. I guess the adage is that nothing is ever truly free. So when you're wandering around the internet and finds, something for free or a discount voucher or something like that, that always comes with this baggage of reciprocity. Once somebody has given us something like a discount or, free information toolkit or something like that, what they're hoping is that we'll feel that tug of the need to reciprocate, and of course then they get us more engaged in whatever it is that they're doing. So It's a very powerful factor, good thing to be aware of. This is one I see every day. Glenn Barlow. Not quite sure what happened to him or what his backstory was, but well, I see him every day. Should probably try and find out. Fascinating example of reciprocity from one of the US presidents, and I believe it might be Benjamin Franklin, where he was having a lot of difficulty working with one of the lawmakers from the other side of the aisle. And what he did was he'd heard that this particular lawmaker had a really rare book in his library. And he requested, via this antiquated thing we used to do called letter, writing a letter, he requested to borrow this particularly rare book. So essentially he used reciprocity, but in reverse, in order to put himself into the debt of this other lawmaker. Do you know what happened? The relationship dramatically improved. So reciprocity can be used in two ways. It can be used to try to put people into our debt and make them feel like they owe us something, but the converse can also be true. We can use it to put ourselves into the debt of others for the sake of improving a relationship, and those two are able to work together in a much more productive fashion for the rest of their careers. Fascinating, huh? It's always good to have a favour up your sleeve. I've got one with my dog now. Next time I want to take a holiday, which is nice. Anyway, whatever you're getting up to today, hope it's a good one. And I will see you next time on the morning walk. Have a good one.